Well, like we were talking about before, Briana, like I think that us athletes we think we are immortal. Like I said, I just knew I was going to play till I was about 40, 42, you know what I'm saying? And God was like, 33, yeah, out, peace, it's time to go. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, you know, what you did is actually get a jump start on everything that happened, with your career, which was like, when you get, like you said, like when you get a back thing, like, yeah, that is life altering, so it's easy for anybody to say, oh, I would have kept playing or whatever the case is. It's easy for somebody to say that until they're in the situation that you were in. And that's why, like, for me, I always tell people, like, not till you in the situation, that's when you know.
For sure. My coach. What's funny is I potentially had 2 extra years of eligibility,
Mm-hmm.
and my doctor, my team doctor said, "Oh, you're just having like back spasms. Like you'll be back in a couple of weeks." I was like, "Yo, I can't move. This is beyond just catching a cramp or like something going on muscular wise with my back." So I get an MRI. I go and take that MRI to my real doctor because athletes know there's difference
No, of
between the
course, of
two.
course, of course.
There's the athletics doctor and then there's like your actual doctor. So I go to my actual doctor and she had reviewed my MRI and she or not MRI, my or it was MRI.
Yeah,
It is,
yeah,
yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
am I mixing up the two? Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
my MRI scans and she's like laughing in my face. She's like laughing. She's like, yeah, if you don't stop now, you may not be able to hoop or like do anything ever again. You have
Wow.
she was like, you have two partially ruptured discs with some leakage, and that
Gosh.
can affect a lot of things for you, not just playing basketball. So, I'm thankful and blessed now that I can, like, I do like 5Ks and half marathons and stuff like that, and I enjoy it. And
You do
I haven't
5Ks
hooped
too,
in.
huh?
Yeah, yeah, I love
Uh,
getting a
I,
good
I,
run in.
half marathons, not yet. I'm not that good. 5Ks, I've done 9 this year so far.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
See, we'll have to chat. But um, yeah, like I love living an active lifestyle. And that is a very sobering thing to hear from a doctor at what, I was 21, about to be 22. So
Mhm.
I just knew that it was a wrap. And what's funny is if I had the right coach, I probably would have just continued running through that wall and just been like, I'm okay, I'm good, let's go. Because, you're young and like thankfully everything healed. But now, shoot, now I'm like, why is my back hurting right now? Or like, why do I need a heating pad right now?
Yeah,
So
right, right.
that happens, every couple of months. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, it's because of what happened. The person that's left with the medical bills is you. So that's the thing that a lot of coaches don't necessarily tell you when they're telling you to push through, when they're telling you, oh, do you want to play on this team? Oh, do you want to do these things that we need in order to win?
Yep,
They don't
yep.
tell you that you're the one left with all of the baggage in the end. They
Huh.
go on to the next person, the next thing, the next recruiting class, and you
Mhm.
are just left there battered and bruised. So
Yep. And then in the
I,
professional ranks is even worse, you know.
oh, I can imagine because then
Yeah.
it's like that's your job for real. Like it's tied to everything.
Yeah.
Um,
My last year I had 2 stress fractures in both my shins because
mm,
they both were cracked.
hmm.
So I still have plates in them, still plates in them to this day.
Wow.
So they gave me obviously pain pills when I first,
Hmm.
got back from surgery. And then like obviously after those pain pills were out, I was taking a leave. So I was popping the leave like Skittles, you know what I'm saying? So I was
Taking
popping
so much
both.
to leave, you don't even feel it for real.
Yeah, like I was taking, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves, maybe 8 on a game day, just to make
Hmm.
sure that my knees and my legs was okay. Um, and yeah, by the time, I was 33. I was taking 5 or 6 before practice, and then
Hmm.
8 on the games. And so, um, yeah, I mean, obviously, you just continue to try to push through, but like in reality, it's probably killing you inside. That's why a lot of athletes, people wonder why they play through stuff and they walk around with knock knees or all bow legged, and like you be like, "Dang, Kenny Smith, why you run like that?" You know what I'm
Beat
saying?
up,
Because
stiff. It's rough. It's
mm-hmm,
so rough.
mm-hmm,
And, you know, I what's crazy is I wanted to stay around the game of basketball. Like I wanted to stay, and I knew that my body was like, we can't do this anymore, but I wanted to be like a GA and stay around the game and work in college athletics and like do all that fun stuff. My coaches didn't make not one effort to help me like be a GA. I think I got like a written letter. You're like, yeah, we'll write you like a letter of recommendation. But everybody knows in order to be a GA, in order to be like in college sports, you need that coach to just call up one of their coach friends and be like, hey, you got a spot for this kid who, wants to get their graduate degree and, help you with your team and, be an assistant or whatever. She wrote me a recommendation letter, and that did not get me anywhere. So my harsh reality, that first year was trash. Like that first year was terrible. I was, like you said earlier, I was one of those people at my parents' house trying to figure it out, trying to just trying to keep my sanity. Thankfully, obviously we weren't back then, we were not like in COVID. So like it was completely different. So I still like have my car and can go see friends and like do some fun stuff. I was like, man,
mm-hmm,
I'm broke. Like I need a job and I need to figure out how I'm going to make this work. What is this going to look like? I need to go to grad school. My undergrad degree was psychology. I was like, what can I do to get paid in this? Nothing. So I need to go to grad school and I need to figure that out. And
mm-hmm.
so I got a job at an investment firm and I hated it. I got like reached out to by a recruiter on LinkedIn and they were like, "Oh, you want to work at our investment firm? We'll teach you. We'll teach you." And
Right.
I'm like, I'm a psych major. Why are you reaching out to me? Well, well, the job, it was like crazy data entry. And it was like private investments and all this data and just, analyzing it and blah, blah, blah. That's why
mm-hmm,
they reached out to me.
mm-hmm,
And I hated that job. I was like, how do I go from such an active lifestyle to I'm sitting in a cubicle and I'm working these long hours and I'm working from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. I'm working on weekends. I'm like, this is not it. So simultaneously, I was applying to grad school because I couldn't do it. I do not think that I do not work to live. I live to work, or I don't live to work. I work to live.
yes,
And
yeah, I know, I
at
know
the
what you're
time,
saying.
yeah, at the time, I feel
Yeah, it
like I
was
was
reversed. Yeah,
living to work, and I was just
yeah.
like, oh, this is horrible.
Okay.
So I ended up going to grad school, and grad school is really where I got my drive back and got my joy back for learning for honestly basketball too. Like I was living in Philly. I went to the University of Pennsylvania and I was getting my master's in organizational behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much what that is just looking at organizations and how to make them more effective and how to make them more money. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, how to make them more
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
inclusive. What
Mm-hmm.
does that all look like? And I was hooping like 3 times a week with just random dudes in Philly. I was hanging with friends. I was joining clubs. I was doing all these different things because I didn't have time to do that when I was in undergrad. I didn't have the opportunity to. So my commitment to myself is that I'm reclaiming everything that I did not have or didn't get a chance to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was wild, but like through that, I was able to just try so many different things. And that's one of the first suggestions that I would have for anybody that's like trying to figure it out as a former athlete. Like just try a bunch of stuff. It's really, really hard initially when you go from being an expert in your field, right? Played 17 years, you played 28, put together. We have so much experience, but it's another thing when you go out and you're trying to try something new for the first time. It is discouraging, but I'm here to tell you, go out and try it anyway. Go out and experience it, see if you like it. You could find your next big thing that you want to do beyond the game. So
Hmm.
you have to try them first and
No,
just, yeah, go from there.
no, I agree with you 100%. It took me a while to get to where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? So it took me multiple positions, multiple jobs, multiple kind of like, ooh, this is cool. I hate this. I hate that. No, this is okay. No, now I'm here. Now I'm here. And I've been here
Mm-hmm,
for at least doing this for 6.5 years as far as job, day job. But like what I did learn obviously is this podcasting thing is something that I enjoy. I'm really comfortable in a one-on-one setting in interviewing people such as yourself
mm-hmm,
and just listening
mm-hmm.
to their stories because their stories similar but yet so different. So I really enjoy this. So,
Yeah.
so after you did the job you hated, right?
Yeah.
After you got your degree, you did the job you hated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then what was the next thing?
Did the job that I hated and was, like I said, simultaneously applying to grad school because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I ain't about to make no money in psychology. I need to figure that out. And I ended up in a branch of psychology, but it's more like business psychology, trying to understand how organizations function and all of that good stuff. But like what I was studying in school was I was applying all of that to sports organizations because sports organizations are a hot mess. It's like a dumpster fire. It's just so disorganized because you see sports and you see like, oh, this is this very fun thing, sexy, glamorous. Oh, they got the gear, they got the all the cameras set up, oh, they got all this stuff. But then behind closed doors, it's like there's underpay, there's burnout, there's, you talking to people crazy, there's a lot of politics in sports that people don't necessarily want to talk about and or know about. So I was applying all the things that I was doing to sports. And so after that, or I was a pandemic grad. I was graduating on Zoom University. I was like I literally was graduating May 2020 and I wanted to be in college sports. Literally, I was like, man, I want to go back in college sports. Is what I want to do. I had
Mm-hmm.
worked part-time with athletics when I was in grad school with the athletics teams at Penn. I was like, man, I really enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know if we were at the end of times or the worst of times or whatever times with COVID and 2020. I'm just seeing, we're all seeing everything unfold before our eyes and that count in the corner of cases and of the screen is just like, man, I don't want to be out there because college athletics, it was just a weird time where at first they said, oh, nobody can compete. And then they realized all the money that they were going to lose out on. And they were like, actually, we're going to have everybody compete. And you're just going to get tested and do all the protocols and all that stuff. I was like, man, that's so messy because you're impacting, 17 to 22-year-olds lives and bodies, well-being, and just all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to work at a consulting firm. And how that
Okay.
came about was I feel like everybody created a brand in 2020 or created a business or created something because we were all in the house basically. And I had created a brand called Black and Ballin. And Black and Ballin still to this day is up, but I don't use it as much. I was using it to talk about Black athletes and social justice and what that meant and how I was seeing for the first time Black athletes speak up about injustices that they face and that Black people face on a day to day. And, we were watching police brutality in 4K on our screens every day. So I wanted to create shirts for Black and Ballin. And I hit up one of my friends and I was like, hey, can you come do a shoot with me? We can do it outside, be socially distanced or whatever. And so he was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. So so he comes and we do a photo shoot and I take photos of him with the shirts on and stuff. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job right now. Do you know anybody that's hiring. He's like, oh, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking to work at a consulting firm because like my master's degree is in organizational behavior, so I can work at a consulting firm easy. And he was like, I think I have someone for you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because like you just never know unless you ask. Like I always ask people, I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? I just to keep my eyes out and just in case I could help them in any way and connect them to somebody that knows somebody that can help them. And so he connected me with my now boss, and we have been working together since 2020. And like it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in
Mm-hmm.
it's in a different sector than I would have thought I would be in, but our main clients are in like tech, sustainability, government, and it is interesting to say the least because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still apply everything that I learn and all of my stuff on a day to day. Like I still apply to sports. And so even though I'm a management consultant and I do that as my day job, I can still apply everything that I do to the sports world because it's just like, plenty of transferable things. I wouldn't say skills, but like, yeah, I guess transferable skills. So it just worked out hand in hand. It's literally like, I don't know, have you ever read the book The Alchemist?
I've heard of it. It's on my actual book list. But I haven't got a chance to read it.
Great read, very short too, but really profound. I feel like my life is very alchemist like because the whole premise of the book is that he's on this like big journey and he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand what's happening to him. He wants this big goal and this big prize, but he's like, yo, I'm going through all this stuff. All these challenging things are happening. People stealing my money. People are doing me wrong. All these things that he's like learning along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting here and I'm telling you the story, but like these are like these are like the Cliff Notes version of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not necessarily like the easiest thing, but everything's coming together in the way that it should. And that's
Right.
just what life is, like you have to go with the flow of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like it's never on your time, it's on God's time. So um we always want things so fast and right then and there, and we're just like, God, why do I struggle? Why do I have to struggle so much? And then he's
Literally.
like, well, you ain't ready for what I want to give you, you know?
Hmm.
And I think that,
Absolutely.
so yeah, you have to mature as a person to be ready for what I want to give you. And so for
Hmm.
myself, I think that I had to mature as a person to get to where I'm at now. When I was younger, I wasn't ready for whatever I'm gonna get now, because I was immature. I didn't
Hmm.
think the way I think now.
Hmm.
Um, so that's why I was like, learning, like you talking about is figuring yourself to figuring what's your next move, and you're in the right move at the right time. And I think
Hmm.
that from what you told me so far, Brianna, that like you're meant to be here where you're at right now, and you went through all these things to get to where you are right now, which is a good thing.
Literally. Just part of the journey. You just look back on it and you be like, I
Yeah,
really question. I'm like, if that didn't happen, then like, where
yeah,
would I
yeah,
be?
yeah, yeah,
Because like, I mean, even back to college and injuries, if I didn't get injured, would I probably still be hooping? Probably.
yeah, yeah.
If
That's what I'm
I
saying.
if my coach hadn't left, or like just different things and
There's a
different
lot of things
scenarios.
along your journey. That's all a part of an athlete's journey.
Mhm. There you go. There you go. Literally, why?
So no, definitely, like I said, just enjoy the story. Um, so what's next for you, big time?
Not big time. What's next for me is just working with more schools. Like that's what I
Hmm.
really want to do.
Hmm.
I focus on the impact of everything.
Hmm.
So talking with more people, getting my name out there, doing the work, and having a greater impact on athletes' lives. Because I just think this education is it's really lacking and it's scary because it's like we invest in everything else. You invest in the technology to, get your social media going and have all the camera angles, and, you do all the graphic design and you upgrade your facilities, but then you don't have a lot of services when it comes to wellness and it comes to supporting your athletes, or you have one person for 500 people. Like, what type of impact is that? And so I just think our priorities are out of whack, because the more invested in a person feels, the more that they're going to put out for you. The more that you feel invested in a person, Travis, like the more that you're going to put out for whatever is being invested in, poured into you. So that's pretty much my main goal right now. Like, people ask me if I'm going to do another book. I say the book was the vehicle. I'm really big on like doing things that I feel called to do. Like, I always pray
Mm.
for like alignment and doing things that I can create an impact for. So I literally will work on projects and do things that I feel called to do. So the book was the vehicle, and I have some like pretty lofty goals in terms of just growing my current business and what I want that to look like and who I want to bring in and how I want to get funding for it and just all of that fun stuff. But right now, I pretty much move within my capacity
Mm,
and
mm, mm,
impact lives within that capacity. So
mm.
that is pretty much like what's next. What's next is happening now. What's next is what's current, literally. Uh, so that's the goal, and just talking with more people like yourself and sharing stories and making more of an impact to be able to help the next person coming along and who wants to think beyond the game. Love the game, yes, of course, but you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Well, I definitely agree, to what you're saying. I think that what we have to do is have a plan,
Hmm.
for the future. And
Hmm.
even when you're like at the quote unquote peak of your powers, you have
Hmm.
to, not necessarily have an exit strategy plan, but just have something in place to where I don't know how to say it, but like let's just say like it's like a prenup. Like you don't, it's like you don't want to get divorced, but if you got divorced, you would have a plan in place, kind of thing,
Oh, absolutely.
You
It's
know,
it's it's irresponsible not to,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, when you don't have anything in place, that's when you're left empty-handed. Literally. You have no other options and you are left empty-handed. And that's not a good feeling. Been there, done that. you know.
Well, no, I can understand that. I think, like I said, I wanted, like I said, once people read her book, but also read her story, her journey, you know what I'm saying? Because what she's doing now, what is something that is going to really change the future of college sports, I think, just because, it's going to give people a plan. And I think that, we all need a plan for whatever it happens after, because so many of us don't, so many of us don't. Let's just take, for example, the NBA draft just happened, whatever it was 2 weeks ago. All these kids are like 19, 20 years old. I can guarantee you probably at least half of them, maybe more, don't have a plan. They're just playing. And,
Absolutely.
and some of them are going to make it to the next contract. Some aren't, but the issue is you got to have a plan either way. I think, even if you're the number one pick or whatever the case is, and you're going to be the next great whatever, I think you still got to have a plan of like, um, what's next. I think obviously when it comes to certain like NBA athletes, it's a little different. Like we're like say for example Kobe. I think Kobe started thinking about his retirement after he tore his Achilles 4 years before he finished basketball. So by the time he finished, he was already thinking about like doing what he did. That the telling the story, and obviously winning the Oscar and things like that. I think LeBron James is another great example of like already having the next thing already rolling. So when he retires in 1 or 2 years or whatever the case is, he's already, I'm already off and running to the next thing. It's so many
Hmm.
athletes who kind of retire and just just sit around like, okay, what's next? So,
Literally.
so I think that like you giving them to them early, especially in college, is a great thing for the future of us athletes, former, current, like you said, what's now. So,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely. And then, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
website,
And I was about to get to that.
brianadubose.com.
So where can people? I was
Yeah.
going to see you reading my mind.
Oh, yeah.
So
See, that's what
so
that's what happens. I'm like, I
yes,
got you, I got you.
yeah.
But,
So where
you
people can
know,
find you? Where can people look you up and find you? Everything.
brianadubose.com has all my stuff. Briana Dubose Dubose.com. You can find my story. You can reach out to me. We can chat. I love just hearing people's story and hearing how I can help potentially, and just all that good stuff. It's like trading war wounds and all that good stuff. So we're trading our war stories. So
Mm,
I don't mind at all, but this is the work that I love to do and feel called to do. So feel free to reach out.
okay. Now, as for myself, you can follow me at Travis W. Reed on Instagram. It's REED, Travis W. Travis W. Reed on Instagram. I mean on Facebook, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You can message me, DM me, whatever. I post all my social media on both those sites. I also have a LinkedIn account. If you do have one, if you don't, if you follow Briana, you can follow me too.
Mhm.
And pretty much, I wanted to pump up the book club that I do have on LinkedIn. Like I said, if you like reading, if you like, different books, different stories, I have that also on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for that Athlete's Journey merch, which if you're on YouTube, you can see this when I post it. Feel free to DM or message me. Uh, like I said, I'll send it out to you personally myself. And like I said, like this, I gotta actually order another set because the last ones, they went pretty fast. Everybody was like, "Give me that, Athlete's Journey XL shirt."
I
So,
love it.
so yeah, like I was saying, appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate you, Briana, because like I said, I want to get you on again because I want to I want to get more in detail of your book. We definitely can do this again, so because what you did, you probably don't even realize it yourself in writing a book and doing what you're doing is beyond spectacular. And it needs to
Thank
be
you.
more positive stories because we hear so much about the drama and Zion Williamson stuff like that.
Oh, Lord,
Yeah.
Lordy.
So, so we definitely want to hear the more positive stories like yourself. So,
Thank
definitely
you.
want
I
to bring you
appreciate
back
it.
on and talk about it. And I will read it, and then I'll let you know how it is, and I'll probably post it on my book club for one of my books of the month. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank
Fantastic.
y'all. Like I said, appreciate it. Appreciate you, Briana, for coming on. We will talk to you later. Peace.